Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys my updated Game Week 1 draft. Now, like a lot of you guys, I have been tinkering around with my team. I started with a Salah only draft and I've moved on to a Salah plus Haaland draft, and now I've landed on a Haaland only draft without Salah. So I think this is testament to the pricing that FPL have gone with this season. They've got it spot on, and basically it's so hard to go for all the premiums that you want and still have a balanced squad. So for the time being, where I'm at in terms of premiums is I don't think that I will be able to get a balanced enough squad with Salah and Haaland. I just don't like the way that the drafts look by going for both of these premiums. So because of that, I'm kind of in a situation where I only want to go for one, which is either Haaland or Salah, and I've chosen to go for Haaland here, which I'll touch on more later on as to why, right? But I do want to share with you guys a little bit as to the players that I've picked here and where my head is at in terms of the general squad balance that I've gone for as well. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video. If you do, please drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here. Later on at the end of the video, we will be dropping this team into the Fantasy Football Hub My Team Tool as well to take a look at AI's rating for this team. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, Fantasy Football Hub have recently launched a new feature where you can upload a screenshot of your team onto the app and it loads in your 15 players. You no longer have to pick them out one by one, and you can optimize your team and get a team rating instantly as well. So it's completely free. Just use the link in the description to check it out and support the channel as well. Right, so more on that at the end of the video. So let's take a look now at this team, and in goal I've gone for Jorgensen. So for Jorgensen, he's priced at 4.5 million. He is obviously the new keeper that Chelsea have signed. A lot of us in the FPL community thought that he would be priced at 5 million. But he's coming at 4.5 million, and I feel like that is a bit of a steal because for the Chelsea fixtures that they have after this Man City game, it's an incredible run. A lot of us thought that if Jorgensen came in at 5 million, we have to turn to Nottingham Forest keepers, Crystal Palace keepers, etc. But for the time being, given that all the Chelsea keepers are priced at 4.5 million, I feel like it's a case now of identifying who is the starting keeper based on the preseason quotes from Maresca or the preseason lineups that we see. And if we get confidence that, either Jorgensen or Sanchez is going to start, I foresee the keeper that is the first choice going to be a very popular pick come game week 1. So for now, I've included Jorgensen in the draft. My assumption is that he is going to be the starting keeper. I mean, I honestly don't think that Sanchez's distribution is as good as Jorgensen. I've taken a look at some of the clips as well. So it feels to me like Jorgensen will fit more of Maresca's play style in terms of what he demands for a keeper. So obviously, we'll keep a lookout for that. In defense, I've gone for Trent, Porro, and Vardiol. So I know one look at this defense, a lot of you guys are going to say there's a lot of money in defense. Yes, bonus points have kind of not favored defenders as much as attackers. We've gone through all of that. But I think I view these picks slightly differently now. So let's speak about Trent first. Trent is someone that has not left my draft. He is someone that I don't think I'm going to compromise. He is 7 million. And Liverpool's fixtures are so good. We know the output that Trent can have. It is likely Trent is going to adopt similar positions that he did under Jurgen Klopp. Maybe the actual tactical play could be slightly different, but he will be in similar positions. And thereafter, I think the quality that he possesses there, as well as the attacking output, would likely continue to be of very high potential. So I think he will justify the 7 million price tag. And then obviously there's clean sheets to go with as well with Liverpool's good fixture run. So he feels pretty locked to me. Now, Porro is the one that I've kind of changed my thinking about recently. I think at first I was looking at the Spurs fixtures and I was kind of thinking I don't see any clean sheets there, right? But I'm warming up to the idea that Porro at 5.5 million is much better than going for a 5.5 million midfielder. If I spend the money here in defense to upgrade a 4.5 million defender to someone like Porro, I feel like that's money more justified than going for someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi at 5.5 million in midfield, or even Minte from Brighton in midfield that a lot of people are considering as well. I think in general, the 5.5 million midfielder bracket as well as the 6 million midfielder bracket, none of the midfielders, they kind of feel like they justify that price tag to me. And I don't think it's worth it to spend that money on them. So what I've done is I've taken the money out from the midfield and I've put it into defense in Pedro Porro. And I look at the positions that he's taken up over the course of preseason. It is truly incredible. I mean, he is playing as a right back, but he's just so advanced that majority of the time I see him in the attacking half, and sometimes he's even the most advanced player as well. So I just do like Pedro Porro. We know what he can deliver based on pre-season as well as the previous season's performances as well. So on the off chance, the way I see it is on the off chance that Spurs do keep a clean sheet, that feels to me like a bonus as well, because my thinking is I don't think there's a lot of clean sheets there for Porro. I feel like his attacking returns will be able to justify that. And then if he gets a clean sheet, it could be a double-digit haul for him. So the only concern there is the tougher fixtures like Arsenal and Newcastle, which I'll touch on later on when I use the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool to tinker around with the team and show you guys how I intend to bench him for some weeks and then bring other players in as well. So last, we have Vardiol here. He also feels to me as if he's locked in this draft because Chelsea away, not an easy fixture, but after that is 3 very good fixtures for Man City. It includes West Ham. It also includes Ipswich as well. Ipswich is a home game as well. And Vardiol in preseason has continued to play left back. He has continued to look very advanced as well. So I don't foresee him playing in a different role as to what he did towards the end of last season. He would likely be playing in a similar style that he did. And that kind of gives me confidence that I could go for him with the clean sheet potential and attacking returns. So I do like it. Trent, Porro, Vardiol, a lot of money in defense. I do understand that. And that's kind of why when you look at the bench, it's a pretty thin bench. I have Barco, Harwood, both of them 4 million. I've gone for Barco because of the Ipswich fixture in game week 4. Why not take a chance on that? I think Barco against Ipswich, that could be a game, right, where Barco could be very, very advanced. He could get a couple of returns there. And for the time being, it seems as if in game week 4, that's pretty much the only time I need to call on him. And obviously, let's say injuries come in. I'm not too afraid of having to start Barco even in in game weeks 1 to 3 as well. So I have no issues with that. The only thing about Barco is that I will say Estupiñán would likely be returning sometime in game week 6, that period there. So it could be a case where he's only going to be an option in these first few game weeks. So I'll just take a chance that I will need him in these first few game weeks. And if he is benched after that because Estupiñán comes back, then obviously I'll have to ship him out. But for now, he kind of enables this expensive draft that I've gone for. And also, there are some reports saying that Barco, that Estupiñán coming back may not mean that Barco leaves the team immediately. Estupiñán could function as a left-sided centre-back out of the 3, and then Barco could be a left wing-back, etc. So there are a couple of variations that we could see for the Brighton defence, but for now I have Barco there. Harwood, 4.0 million. He's probably just going to be a bench fodder for me there. And for Morgan Rogers, 5 million, West Ham away, he gives me entry into the Aston Villa attack that I think come post game week 2, right, from game week 3 onwards, I'm probably going to want an Aston Villa attacker. So I'm likely considering even bringing Watkins in then as well, which I'll discuss later on. But Rogers just gives me cheap entry into that immediately, right? So come game week 3, I can start Rogers already. So for now, these are the players that I have gone for. Let's take a look now at the midfield. So in midfield, I have Nkunku, Saka, Gordon, and Eze. So let's talk about Nkunku first. For me, he is a player that hasn't left any of my drafts. He is too good value at 6.5 million, and in pre-season, Enzo Maresca has only been singing praises of him week after week. I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks, but there's only been positive things that I've heard about Nkunku from Maresca. I look at the way he's adopting the number 10 role as well for the Chelsea team. I really like it. I think when Cole Palmer comes back, we will have to see how they kind of interplay. Do they both play behind the striker, or does Cole Palmer maybe go out to the right, because that's where Maresca coached him during his time at Man City as well. There's a lot of speculation as to how Nkunku and Palmer will function together when they're both on the pitch. But for the time being, looking at the way Nkunku is playing, at 6.5 million, he feels too good value. And again, Chelsea's fixtures from Game Week 2 onwards are just so good. So I only foresee him rising in price from Game Week 1 onwards. So I'm going to go early here and have him. He's also very highly owned, so he doesn't feel to me like he's going to be that big of a differential. More of a rank protector, I feel. And then for Saka, I have gone for him here at 10 million, but it is very close between him and Son. Now, I'll speak about this premium position here first, this 10 million to about 12.5 million, which is Salah. Despite me going without Salah, I still do feel like having this price point of a midfielder, whether it's Saka, whether it's Son, or even Palmer at 10.5. I think this price point is still important so that I can move around the different premiums whenever I want to. Say I want to go for Foden later on if he pops off. I can just go from Saka down to Foden. If Son looks really good, I can go from Saka to Son as well. I just want to make sure that I have that flexibility in my midfield, and Saka is that player for me. And that's kind of why I haven't gone for, say for example, 5 midfielders which are all very, very cheap at like 6.5 to 7.5 million. That's kind of why I haven't done that, and I've still kept that premium position here, just that I've gone for Saka. Now on Saka versus Son, the reason why I've gone for Saka is mainly because of the first 3 block of fixtures. I look at the first 3 block of fixtures. It's Wolves at home, really, really good. Then it's Aston Villa away, it's a tougher game. And then it's Brighton at home. So I look at the first 3 fixtures for Saka. I just really back Arsenal at the Emirates for those 2 games, which are really plump fixtures. And I also back them to start the season very well. Yes, there's a lot of things that come with Saka in that he could be carrying a niggling injury. He also hasn't had a lot of rest in preseason. He hasn't even had a full preseason because he's only just coming back into the Arsenal squad. We haven't even seen a couple of pictures yet as well of him in training. So he's going to be run to the ground again. That is, I guess, the downside of going for Saka. But for now, I'm comfortable enough to still just have him for those first 3 game weeks, capture those fixtures. And I feel like if Son pops off, I can just move on to Son later on as well. I don't mind it. And it also saves me a bit of a transfer later on, which is something that I do want to touch on later on when we are tinkering with the team. I'm more likely to sell Son than I am to sell Saka early. Because Saka's fixtures, yes, come game week 4, game week 5, that period, it could be difficult. But I still think like Saka is an easier hold than someone like Son when Tottenham face a tougher team, because I just rate the Arsenal attack much better than the Tottenham attack. So I'm going to go with Saka here with the thinking that if I do have to keep him long term, I don't mind it at all. And for now, he's the captain who against Wolves at home, right? So it is close again, captaincy between Saka and Isak, etc. But I've gone with Saka here to back Arsenal in the home fixture, and that's where I've landed for now. Not to say that it couldn't change. And again, it is close. So if you are going for Son, let me know down below between the Saka and Son debate who you are going for. Next up, I have Gordon and Eze. These two haven't left my team. I'm not even going to speak about Eze because he feels to me as a very locked player in the squad that hasn't left any of my drafts, similar to Trent as well. Now, for Gordon, he has Southampton at home. Provided he stays in Newcastle, I think he is a player that I really want for this Southampton game. The first 3 fixtures again for Newcastle feel to me like there could be a lot of goals as well. So I do really like the double up in Gordon and Isak. A bit of a spoiler, but I do like that double up, and that's why I think going for Gordon here is likely what I'm going to go for. He is 7.5 million. I am considering going for a Liverpool attacker in that position. I don't think I can reach someone like Diogo Jota to go a little bit different and quite maverick of a pick. So I am actually considering going for Szoboszlai, who feels to me like he's adopting a bit of a different position there. And so basically downgrading Gordon to Szoboszlai. That could be a move that I make further down the road if I get more confidence that Szoboszlai is going to adopt that number 10 role just behind the striker. So I need to see how Szoboszlai operates with someone like a Darwin Núñez or Jota for a longer period of time, does he hang behind the striker? I do want that to happen before I go for Soboslai at 6.5. So for now, Gordon's in team here. And then in terms of the overall structure of the midfield, I'm left with Rodgers there at 5.0 million, which I've covered already. He just gives me cheap entry into the Aston Villa attack that I foresee myself wanting come game week 3. So let's take a look now at the forwards. So up front, I have Isak, Haaland, and João Pedro. So Isak, again, is very locked in my team. He is one of the more highly owned assets in FPL right now, so I'm not going to speak about him too much. For Erling Haaland, why I've chosen him as my premium instead of Mohamed Salah is mainly because of that game week 2 fixture against Ipswich. I foresee that being a mega haul, and I don't want to be missing out on that one. And in terms of the game week 1 fixtures that I see for my players here, I think I'm able to cover that Salah captaincy, right, by going for someone like captaining Saka or even captaining Isak. I don't foresee my captaincy points being that much lower than going for a Salah captain. And in general, when I look at the kind of Salah and Haaland draft that I've seen already, and I've also made a couple of them, I just don't like what it does to the rest of my squad as well. So I can't see myself having both of them. And because I have to choose one, I kind of am backing the game week 2 fixture here for Haaland, which is Ipswich at home instead of Ipswich away in game week 1 for Salah. And then come the next few game weeks as well. Game week 3 and game week 4. Those are also very plumb fixtures for Man City. So I would be very afraid if I don't have Haaland for those fixtures as well, which could very well be fixtures that I want to captain Haaland into. So I feel more comfortable having Haaland in my team from the get-go. And because, again, as I've said, I have to choose one. I'm not in the kind of boat of FPL managers where they're going to go with both Salah and Haaland. So I've just chosen to go for Haaland straight up here. So let me know what you guys think. I know it's definitely going to turn some hits, especially after Salah just scored against Arsenal, where he got put through from a ball in midfield and he just dribbled all the way and finished in typical Salah style. So there's a lot of talk about him getting older, a lot of talk about him maybe not having as good of an output, but maybe that has been silenced a little bit by the goal that he scored against Arsenal. But again, pre-season is nothing that we have to give too much weight to. But I am interested to know what you guys think about Haaland versus Salah and which boat you are in if you are choosing a 1 premium draft. Right, so there we go with Haaland. For João Pedro, he's at 5.5 million. I'm not able to reach Muniz, and I'm also not able to reach Chris Wood. So I've gone for João Pedro here. But when I look at the rotations that I'm able to get with João Pedro as compared to someone like Chris Wood or even Muniz, I'm quite confident in the fact that I'm able to rotate João Pedro well with Morgan Rodgers on the bench there. So I'll show you guys a bit of how the tinkering works as well. I've made a bit of a rough plan, nothing too firm yet, but I'll show you guys how it looks like. So let's move on to the transfer tinkering tool, the My Team tool from Fantasy Football Hub. So I've loaded my team into the Fantasy Football Hub My Team Tool. If you guys want to check it out for yourselves, it's completely free. You can check out the link in the description to find out more. So I have a 95% team rating, which is pretty decent. The past few drafts that I've made have about 90 to 92%. So I'm pretty happy with this team rating. And it does obviously take into account the first 5 to 6 game weeks. So I'm going to show you guys a bit of the rotation that I have planned for this team. Now ignore Sanchez here just for a bit of a pointer here, because Fantasy Football Hub have not yet updated the predicted points for Jorgensen. It's currently at 0. So I'm putting the keeper here, the Chelsea keeper here, as a placeholder, as the one that they think is most likely to start, which is Sanchez, because he has been starting majority of the preseason games. But that obviously looks like it's going to change. So we'll see what happens here. He's just a placeholder for now. So Chelsea keeper in goal, again Trent, Variol, Porro to start the season. And then in midfield, it's Saka, Eze, Gordon, Nkunku, Haaland, Isak, and João Pedro. So game week 1 is likely going to be like that. Captaincy could be down to Saka or Isak. Or if I feel like it and Man City look really good in Community Shield, who knows, maybe I'd captain Haaland as well. So for now, it's like this. Come to game week 2, I don't think it's going to be too different in terms of the players that I choose here, because they're really good fixtures. It's Wolves for Chelsea. At the back line as well, all great fixtures. Midfield, again, and up front, pretty similar. This is the week that I'm going to captain Haaland, as I've mentioned. So he has 8.5 predicted points here. So I definitely want him for this fixture. And thereafter, the only, I guess, tougher fixture is João Pedro against Manchester United at home. But do I see João Pedro scoring in there? He very well could. Right, so come game week 3, this is the week where you're going to see João Pedro have Arsenal. So I'm likely going to drop João Pedro down to the bench and play Morgan Rogers, because Morgan Rogers has Leicester away in game week 3, and I seem to disagree a little bit with Fantasy Football Hub here, in that I think Morgan Rogers is going to start the season. Fantasy Football Hub's predictions maybe don't see him starting the season right from the get-go and don't kind of back his minutes, but I do, and that would kind of mean that his predicted points would be much higher as well. So kind of a bit of a disagreement here with the AI, but you can't get everything right with the AI. So 1.1 against Leicester, I foresee that being much more, and I'm happy to start Rodgers against Leicester as opposed to João Pedro against Arsenal. So he comes in, and this is where I say the rotation is going to come in as well. For Pedro Porro, he has Newcastle away. I mean, there is a chance I could bench him for Harold Bellis, but I'm likely still going to start Porro there, because that feels to me like a game that can get a lot of goals, and Porro could very well be involved in that as well. So I'll keep him here in the squad. The rest of the team pretty much standard. Haaland captain again. Come game week 4, this is where you see Pedro Porro have a bit of a difficult fixture with Arsenal at home. So this is where Barco comes in with that Ipswich at home fixture in game week 4 that I was mentioning just now. Really good fixture for him, 3.8 predicted points as well. And then when you look at the rest of the squad, it's really good. Ipswich at home for João Pedro as well. So he comes in for Morgan Rogers. Now, next up, come to game week 5 now. We're done pretty much with a bit of the rotations here. I'm going to put Pedro Porro back in. Now, what I'm likely to do in game week 5 is actually to sell Haaland for Ollie Watkins, because as I've mentioned, I want to get a bit of that Aston Villa attack. So the plan is actually to sell Haaland in game week 5 when he has Arsenal, go for Watkins, and then do someone like Gordon up to Mohamed Salah, which is when Salah has Bournemouth at home, and he would be the best captain for that week, and I'm likely going to captain him that week as well. Right, so with all these plans considered, nothing is firmed up, but this is the rough idea that I've gone for. I could even bench Vardiol here in game week 5. Just give me a moment to make the transfers that we have. So I could even bench Vardiol for Barco, who has Nottingham Forest at home. So as you can see, the fixture rotations are really important, and it works quite well for this draft. So that's kind of where I've settled on currently. Let me know what you guys think of the draft and the rotations that I've shown. Come back to game week 1 now. Again, this is the squad. Let me know what you think of it. Do you have Salah in your draft? Is he someone that I have to have in my squad? Are you going for a 2 premium squad? Let me know down in the comments below. But if not, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it useful. A bit of a longer video, but I had a lot to say with regards to some of the picks, because I did change quite a bit of them. If you enjoyed it, please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. And I will catch you guys in more Game Week 1 content coming very soon. Bye-bye.